Hey guys, welcome to the Stock Option Assassin weekly video for swing trading options. Today is Friday, August 10th, 2012. We are a little bit before the close. We got about 30-45 minutes before the close of the day. The spider's basically flat on the day, opened lower, is managing to push back up right around that 140, 140.50 area. And I got some lines on here. You can see kind of the channel we've been in for the past few months. Really, we kind of had a false breakdown here, rallied back up, and you can see we're really kind of consolidating here right around this 140 level. Can't seem to break above. You can see that coincides with the pivot of this was the end of May over here. I've got a couple lines up there. We actually took a short in the spiders here this week on this level, looking for basically a reversion back to the 13 EMA here, which is going to be around 139, and then see if we can actually push lower to potentially retest the 136 area. I still think, if we do roll over here, I think 133 to 134 is going to be pretty stiff support, barring any catastrophic news. But basically a relatively flat week on the market. Let's switch over to a weekly chart real quick. And today was pretty important because it had today we sold back off to the 139, closer to 140. Then this candle would look a lot different on the weekly chart. It looked more kind of like a potential topping candle, like a gravestone doji or something. But this is actually looking a little more like a spinning top. I wouldn't say we're guaranteed to push higher, but I would say as of right now, and again, we still have 30-45 minutes to go. Again, if we sell off back to 139 and change here by the end of the day, then that candle is going to look a lot different. So we'll see how that turns out. But regardless, back on the weekly chart, you can see that we have a relatively small candle. There is potential for more upside. I still think we're going to have stiff resistance here. If we do get a little bit higher, and we might look to add to our shorts at that time. And again, that would be around the let's call it 142 for now. So pretty boring week. There are some big market movers this week with earnings. We're going to talk about those for a minute. And what I wanted to point out in the rest of this video is a trade setup I've been looking at, and kind of it's more of a pattern tracking setup I've been watching. And one example we're going to look at is Lulu here. And by using a combination of indicators and patterns here, when this would have been a good long trade. So obviously we had this sell-off here. We're trading outside these bands. These are the average true range bands. These are also known as TTM reversion bands. But we traded down here, moved back up to the other band, came back down, kind of made a double bottom here, actually peaked low, but you can see the squeeze indicator is indicating a lot of bullish divergence here. So taking this trade at the lower band would have been good. We did not take that trade. However, being that we did popped up, we consolidated, I actually took Lulu yesterday, so we got a nice pop on that today. I'm actually going to hold Lulu calls into next week, looking for a potential move to the 62. I think the market there's a lot of movers going up and down, which is kind of keep the market relatively flat. But I think you can find pockets of bullishness here that I'm willing to get on, and Lulu's one of them. So, but back to the pattern, we're looking for a double bottom, using the squeeze, the momentum part of the squeeze indicator, which is the oscillator, as sort of your momentum for divergences and stuff. So this is a nice divergence here. The next one I want to look at is Netflix. I actually took a small day trade in Netflix today. Pretty much the same pattern, but there we had a big earnings sell-off. As soon as the momentum started to wane, you got you popped up here, and then the squeeze turned yellow. Now, one of our other proprietary indicators actually had us looking at bullish signs here, but you popped up here and you consolidated, and I actually took this as a little potential bull flag. We popped up hard. I got out of my calls. That was a nice quick 100% trade. It was a small position, nothing major, but again, the pattern's there. So what I would look for to take more of a swing trade on this was sort of a retest of these lows. The band's at 54, so that would actually be a good entry. If you can retest this and you get continued sort of positive momentum here in the squeeze, I would definitely look at some long positions with some calls on Netflix here around 54. I'm going to switch over to Priceline. Priceline, same thing. Earnings pop, or excuse me, earnings drop. This was a huge drop. Iron Condor type people got murdered on this one because the move was just so much bigger. But regardless, this was a huge drop. But you can see how the selling seems to have stopped. You got your 3 days in here, so that's kind of a general rule you want to look at as a kind of a 3-day rule to see what if the selling is going to continue or not. Now, I wouldn't say you get long here, but if you do get some more sideways action or even kind of a little pop, and you can start to look at buying calls, or you probably would even look at selling some put spreads here. But if you get any kind of yellow bar out of here, and you get a pop up, you look for a double bottom around the 560, 565 area. So this is also similar to Starbucks. I probably should have shown this one first, but again, earnings drop. This one actually sold off relatively lower, and now you're getting the yellow bars here. So this is similar to Netflix, where you could pop up to this band. However, a better trade would be to wait until you get a pullback to the lower band, which at this point is around 43.82. We'll call it 44. And again, if the squeeze is moving higher and you're getting somewhat of a double bottom around average true range bands, then you can look for a long play there. Now, if this thing just kind of breaks out, you can still look for that long as it pulls back. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Our members, we have some other indicators that are help us get in these trades a little bit earlier, but I still, for those that are learning how to use the squeeze and following our post, I think these are some good trade setups you should be looking at. So that's all I got for today. You guys have a great weekend, and I will catch you next week.